In this video, I'm going to go over exactly what you need to do to stop feeling like you're behind, to stop feeling like you're late because you're right on time. You just don't see that yet. You're giving all of your focus and all of your attention to everybody, everything else when you're right exactly where you need to be, whether it's other relationships, whether it's your business, whether it's AI. There's so many of us that can feel like we're completely behind right now. And in this video, I'm going to help you realize one thing that a lot of people don't talk about: the truth about timing. So if you're feeling behind right now, this video is for you. What's up, everybody? My name is Chesco. Man, I'm just excited to be here with y'all. This is the Perspective Pause. This is a live stream that we do every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time, where I like to say that all the time you go to YouTube to press play, but today you're going to press pause. Because here's the thing, right? Too many times are we just so focused on what other people are doing that we miss the blessings that we have in our own life. Like I said in the intro to this, if you're watching the live stream, there's a little bit of a warm-up video. And I said that you don't lack access to anything. You just lack awareness of the access that you already have. And we're all blessed. We just choose not to look at it. So I want to start this off by saying that when we are not grateful for what it is that's in our life currently, then we usually will feel like we're in the wrong spot. We'll usually feel like we're in the wrong place. We'll usually feel like, man, we are just not getting anywhere. It's almost like we're in quicksand, right? And good morning to everybody hopping on here. I see y'all. I want to talk about a lot of things in this video, but it's going to tremendously help you. So anyway, I know it's kind of a slow introduction here, but to me it is anyway. But I feel like we do have to slow down so we could speed up sometimes. And I talk very fast. I'm going to draw some things today that are going to help you see things a little bit differently. And I think that, well, I wouldn't say I think, I know, and I feel strongly, I'm very confident about this, is that I'm going to teach you some things today to help you see that you're right on time. And it's the truth about timing. It's the truth about timing. But first, before we get started, well, we're supposed to be already started, but I want to tell you that I'm excited on, let me see, there we go. I'm excited to say that I have some friends, right, that have millions of followers on YouTube. And I had the ability to go actually meet with one of them yesterday. And what was really cool is that while celebrating their success, I do get a lot of value from what it is that they do, right? I focus on the value that they give me. And from a consumer level, there's a lot that I've learned, right? But whenever I have a mentor or whenever I do anything to put myself in a place where I'm growing, I look at things through a producer's lens, right? And, you know, on this channel, we talk a lot about different lenses. Like, you don't need a new life, you just need a new lens. And a lot of the times we're focused on things through a consumer lens, where we should be focusing on through a producer lens, right? And what I mean by that is like paying attention not to what someone's telling you to do, but actually what they are doing to get the result in their life that they currently have. What does that mean? It means that it's really neat because we hit over 50 subscribers and we hit over 50 watch hours. And I know I'm taking a moment to kind of celebrate this win. I promise that this video is going to help you, but I do feel like if we don't celebrate, we can't accelerate. And if we can't accelerate, we don't elevate. So I just want to say thank you to all the people that have been subscribing to the channel, because we have over 50 subscribers right now. And to some people, that may seem small. But I want to tell you something about being small, because I think it's in a complete alignment of where we are with this video today as well, is that people struggle with celebrating the beginning. But in all reality, beginning is winning. People struggle with celebrating the beginning. But in all reality, beginning is winning. And if you don't celebrate the steps, then you're going to have a hard time continuing to be consistent. So what I want to talk about today is how to really acknowledge the fact that you're becoming something great in the moment and not to overlook that. Not to overlook that at all. So I want to start with attitude, right? And the first thing I saw a quote recently. It was actually the number one shared quote by Alex Ramosi, and I got a love and hate relationship with him. But I'm gonna get on the love side right now, and I'm gonna say that this quote is really powerful, right? And he said that the single greatest skill that you can develop is the ability to stay in a good mood in the absence of things to stay in the good mood about. What does that mean? That means that our attitude is everything. Our outlook is everything. Because there's hard things in our life, there's challenges in our life, there's difficult things going in our life. It may feel like our life is completely crumbling, but that doesn't mean that that takes away the good. That only means that it takes away your focus on the good at times. So if you can create a skill set, see, some people think that gratitude is something that's created through happiness. Like, I got to be happy. I got to be joyful. I got to be in a great mood to be grateful, when it's actually the opposite. Practicing gratitude creates happiness. It creates joy. It creates fulfillment. It creates contentment, right? So if we can create the skill to stay in a good mood during the times when there's nothing to be in a good mood about, we can be unstoppable. So whatever it is that you're going through right now, there may be some things in life where it just feels like everything is crumbling down. But in all reality, it's actually coming together. So the first thing I want to talk about, let's get to drawing, man. We have it. Where's my iPad? You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. Let's see here. Where is the iPad? Well, while I go ahead and grab that, let me go ahead and let you know to continue to subscribe to the channel. Like this video, and because 30% of all of the people actually that are watching these videos are not currently subscribed. Now, this is a live stream, and I did forget to plug in my iPad to my computer, so I'm gonna have to do that really quick. But while I'm doing that, do me a favor and drop in the comments if you've been getting any value from this channel, and what is the value that you have been getting from this channel, right? You say, let it be charged, please. Come on now, right? So have you guys been getting value from this channel, right? Yeah, we live for real. And see, here's the thing, right? When you think about it, I'm sitting here grabbing my iPad. I hit the button on the Stream Deck to be able to allow a scene to pop up so I could go grab my iPad that was sitting over here, right? This is real life. And I think that so many of us are living such a staged life that it makes it difficult for people to actually see that everyone's human. Right? If I were to have not expressed the fact that I just did that, you wouldn't know that it happened. And too many of us online are just focused on exactly what it is that we could do to be able to look like nothing is going wrong in our lives and it's all perfect. And let me celebrate the highlight reels. And I have nothing wrong with celebrating wins, but I feel like the times that things don't go right or things don't go as planned, which is the only guarantee in life, right? You got death, you got taxes, and then you got things are not going to go as planned. Those are the three guarantees in life. And if you can take moments to share that with people, then you can show that you're human. So it may be as simple as me saying, hey, listen, I had to grab my iPad just to show you that, because the fact of the matter is that I need to share what I'm doing. Like, what are we doing? Beginning is winning, y'all. I don't have this all figured out. I'm just telling you, I do not have this all figured out. I am going as I go. Now, don't get me wrong. I got a little outline. I got some quotes. I got some of my drawings. I got everything I need. But this is what I'm saying is that I may not be exactly where I want to be, but I'm so much further than where I was, right? So let's go ahead and get this thing going here. He said, Greg said, always getting value. Disruption always follows intention. Keep going. Yes, we are going to keep going. Just had to charge the iPad, or not, just had to get the wire really fast. It's plugged in. I'm looking for my folder on GoodNotes. I use GoodNotes for this. If anybody does content, wants to know how I'm doing this, I actually am using a Stream Deck with different types of scenes in Ecamm, and I hit the button, and it actually allows me to have another scene to where I'm sharing my iPad, and I can pull this up live with you guys. So this is where we're at, and let's say a quick little prayer. Please, God, make sure this works, and let's see what we got. I believe we are good to go. So with that being said, let's go into the third thing here, right? I got a few things to share with you today. I know we're going to run out of time before we run out of value like we always do. Hopefully you guys can hear me on my mic when I put my head down. But I want to say that there is you know, I always like to talk about different lenses, and I want to tell you there's something called the focus lens, right? And the focus lens, so we got two things here, right? We got, let's see here, we got two different things here, right? And basically, the focus lens is the lens that we need to use when we think about the things that are going on in our life, right? So we can focus on what's there, or we can focus on what's not there. Now, I like to break things down as if, I'm talking to a fifth grader. It's no disrespect to y'all, but I know that that's just the easiest way for us to understand things, right? So, what I want to say is the focus lens is going to be the lens that you need to use when you want to actually install gratitude in your life, which will then give you a download of happiness, joy, and the feeling of contentment, right? So let me ask you guys a question really fast. Since we are live, if I gave you a donut, right? A donut, would you complain about the hole? If I gave you a donut, would you complain about the hole? I would hope not. I would hope not. Because here's the thing. Either we focus on what is there or we focus on what's not there. Now, this is a simple analogy, but I'm just trying to help you out because I feel like if I'm able to use common things in uncommon ways, if you go somewhere to go get a bagel today, let's say a bagel, that's a little healthier, right? Let's say a bagel. And I like everything bagels, right? I don't know what kind of bagels you guys like, but I like everything bagels. And if I go to go get a bagel, I'm not going to be upset because the bagel has a hole in it. I'm going to be grateful that I actually have the bread. And a lot of us right now, when we're thinking that we're behind, it's because there's one small little hole. There's one small little thing. Like inside of this hole, maybe our, I don't know. I would say this is the FOMO, right? This is the area that we feel like we're missing something, but we're not. Because we're focused on the small little thing that we don't have. What did he say? He said FL, Fruity Loops, now it stands for focus lens. Come on now. Yeah, when you see Fruity Loops, change the FL to focus lens. Come on now. And so what I'm saying though to this is that if we are to take some common things, the next time you get a bagel, the next time you get a donut, like we have to train our brain to use the blessings that God has created in our life to remind us of everything that we do have. So if you can find ways to incorporate the things that you do in your daily activities to say, you know what, I do this a lot. How can I reframe this situation? I was actually somewhere yesterday and somebody was like, I don't know how to start getting different results in my life. And I said, well, you have to start looking at things differently. And they were like, well, how do you look at things differently? And I said, you got to start by doing things different. And like, what can I do different? And I said, I don't know, drive a different way home today from work. Like call somebody you haven't talked to in a while. Like it's so simple to create an experience of doing something different than you have been doing, which will then give you another perspective. But the problem is that we want to hold on to the way that we're looking at life, but we want a new life. And we want a new life, but you can't get a new life. You only get a new lens. So to all the people out there that are the gurus of the world that are going to shift your mindset, you really can't really change your life. You can only change the way you look at it. But when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Shout out to Wayne Dyer. And so the way that I'm looking at this situation is that, number one, before we even start talking about that you're not late and the truth about timing, I have to tell you that are you looking at what you have or are you looking at what you don't? Because what you have is so much greater than the one thing that you don't. The one thing that you don't. Like every time you think about, man, there's something missing in my life, say there's one thing missing in my life. Because it's one thing that you're focused on right now. and you're disrespecting all of the other things that are in your life, which is crazy, right? But again, I'm not perfect. Listen, I'm a teenage girl dad. Like I got teenage. I mean, like there's moments where I'm like, let me do some box breathing, right? To be able to make sure I focus on what's important, so I don't allow the things that matter least to ruin the things that matter the most. So with that being said, yes, let's just start there. But what I'd like to say next is really, man, like when it comes to time, right? Because I feel like a lot of the things that we're doing, there's a stat. Let me share this stat with you guys really quick, right? There's a stat I want to share with you guys. And 91% of FOMO stems from curated social media content, not actual reality. Limiting social media to 30 minutes a day, or at least under an hour, decreases FOMO by 58%. And that was from a study from Social Psychology and Personality Science in 2013. That was 13 years ago. Man, I like to say that you are what you eat. You ever heard that before? You are what you eat. You are what feeds you. Now just think of this, right? What do they call it when you're scrolling, right? They call it a news feed. And that's feeding you something. So think about it like this. Whatever entertains you, trains you. Shout out to Nehemiah Davis. I believe he said this. Whatever entertains you, trains you. So whatever you're allowing yourself to be entertained by is training your mind to be able to focus on those things in your life. I'm sure some of you have heard about the reticular activating system, right? And it's like once you see a red car, you see a bunch of red cars, right? He said doom scrolling in the chat. The chat said doom scrolling. You know, what you tune into is what you turn into. What you tune into is what you turn into. And so if you're allowing yourself to give attention to the things that create a feeling that's allowing you to feel like you're missing out, why are you going back to that? Why are you going back to the same thing that's harming you? Because it's an addiction. I hate to say it. Hi, my name is Chesco, and I spend too much time on social media. Until you actually look in the mirror and say, what am I doing on social media? Am I allowing the algorithm to make me feel as if this cloud-based internet world is reality? Am I doing that right now? Like, is my life more controlled on an addiction of being able to self-sabotage myself because every time I go to do something, I stop in my tracks and then I go ahead and start, like he said in the chat, doom scrolling? Because you're creating procrastination in your life because it almost feels like eating glass to do something new. And when we see the success from other people that are out there, we start thinking that, man, we have so much work to do. And I'm 44 years old, y'all, right? I'm 44 years old. And there are times when I feel like I've completely missed out on so many things. And I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. But if I continue to look at the past, I'm going to continue to live there. And if I continue to look at where everyone else is going to be, then I'm going to continue to create grief and shame on where I am. Because we're all on our own races. We have all of our own unique skills and talents. But that's surface level, y'all. Like you could pop on a video and anybody's going to tell you that. But what's the difference, right? What's really going to help me feel like this fear of missing out is not real? It's going to take some discipline. It's going to take some discipline. And it's going to take small things. And a lot of people that I talk to lately have said that they have a problem with consistency. He said, pause. We all have a problem with consistency. And I read something, I think it was the other day. I don't know if you guys have ever read Atomic Habits by James Clear. Great book. He said in there, he said, I'll probably butcher this, but he said something like, when you take one day off of doing something, that's a mistake. But if you take 2 days off, you're actually creating a new habit. So whatever habit that you have in your life that's making you feel better. I just completed a challenge called 75 Hard, crazy mental toughness and physical challenge. It's not something that everybody can do. And if you don't do it, then you're mad at yourself and you go down this rabbit hole, whatever. I've been down that race, but I just accomplished this, right? And I'm only using this. It's not for me to celebrate myself. It's for me to use this as an example, because I had to fail so many times before I could actually accomplish this. But once I accomplished this, I became the person that really respects beginnings, because I believe that beginning is winning. And too many of us are uncomfortable with being a beginner. Like, you know how many people would be afraid to say, hey, oh my God, I got 50 subscribers on YouTube. I think I checked this morning and we're at like 57 or something like that. And I'm super hyped. For 8 weeks, I've been going consistent on these Wednesday videos, and I've been dropping shorts for the past 5 days for the first time. And each one of those are getting, a lot of traction, and I'm getting subscribers from that. And that's exciting to me, because we could focus on, like my friend that I went and spoke to about how he has millions of subscribers, but you're not going to get there by focusing on him. You're going to get there by nurturing the 50 that you already have. So everybody that's here on this live today, I just want to say I appreciate you, because you're giving me the opportunity to actually speak to somebody and add value. So stop focusing on where somebody else is and start nurturing what you already have. Because here's the thing, right? So I'm an entrepreneur. A lot of us that are on here are entrepreneurs, right? And one of the things that I've done in my business, I'm not going to get into it. This is my life, right? Is that building systems and processes and organization and all these things for entrepreneurs, right? And small businesses. So what's wild is that so many people will say, I'll wait until I have this much money. I'll wait until I have this many clients. I'll wait until my life looks a certain way. But it's almost like disrespecting the clients that you already have. You're disrespecting the day that God already gave you to wait to be happy until next week, because you're going to think that you're going to obtain something by then. Today is the gift that God gave you, and what you do with it is your gift back to God. Today is the gift that God gave you, and what you do with today is your gift back to God, not what you do next week. How you look at today. What's in your hand? Who has God already given you to serve? Or is that something you don't deserve? Too many of us are waiting until we have what we think will make us feel like we're successful, when successful is not a feeling, it's a choice. If you're doing what you love right now, you're successful. It's not when you get somewhere. It's not like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and make this YouTube channel and I'm going to be happy when I got 1 million subscribers. No, I'm grateful to even have the ability to have a microphone and a platform to be able to share my experiences and my testimony. Because so many of us think that, man, I'm not on time. I'm behind my time. Slow down. Your timing is creating your testimony. If you can't go through certain things, how can you help other people go through certain things? I mean, you may be going through what you have to go through to create a framework for others to grow through. We'll pause there. We'll pause there. Because maybe God is making you go through something that you have to go through to create a framework and a strategy and a system and a program to help others grow through what they got to go through. Midlife crisis. I'm 44. I've been an entrepreneur for about 10 years. And I was in corporate for many years. I have a lot of friends that feel stuck in a job or in a relationship or in a just a mindset right now where they feel like everyone else is doing great, but they're not, and that they don't have much time left. See, everything that you see from other people took time if it was actually worth anything. 76, let me share the stat with you guys. 76% of overnight success stories spent 7 to 10 years in preparation. But social media only shows the win, not the wait. Source was Harvard Business Review 2020. You know, it's kind of like, what do they say? You can't compare apples to oranges. That's the thing, right? You can't compare apples to oranges. And I don't know about you guys, right? But let's get back to drawing, right? Let's get back to drawing here. I want to, something just came to me. So let's do this, right? We have a little seed here. And then we also have a little seed here. Okay. So let's say, like, this is a tomato. And this will be an oak tree. All right. So do that. And well, it disappeared, bro. What are we doing? So, and then we have, let's see. An oak tree, right? It's brown. So this is, well, so basically, you know what's interesting? Is that neither one of these knew they were going to be what they were going to be until they actually started growing. Because you have a little seed, right? Neither one of these knew what they were going to be until they started growing, until they broke. Like a seed has to break in order for it to actually start growing. So where we are right now, we sometimes feel like we're at a point where we're just broken because we're stuck. But it's not until we actually start breaking then we start creating, right? So a tomato seed doesn't know it's going to be tomato. An oak tree seed doesn't, or an acorn doesn't know it's going to be an oak tree. You know what's even crazier is that a tomato tree, it takes about 90 days. I think it's 90 days to create seeds. And a oak tree, what is it? I had the stat sitting here. What is it? An oak tree is how much longer is that? I had my notes here. How long does it take for an oak tree to create seeds? How long does it take for an oak tree to create seeds? I'm using Gemini here. Sorry. How long does it take for an oak tree to create seeds? Analyzing acorn production time, Gemini said. Defining acorn development details and outlining the response structure. Considering visual aids. I just wanted to know how long it took for an oak tree to create seeds. Okay.
The time it takes for an oak tree to create seeds, acorns, depends on whether you are asking about the age of the tree itself or the time it takes for a flower to become a mature acorn. Here is the breakdown of the timeline. 1.
Okay. So it's saying 20 to 30 years. So an oak tree takes 20 to 30 years to produce another seed. Why are you telling me this, Chesko? What does this even matter? Well, the reason why I'm telling you this is because do we want to be a tomato or do we want to be an oak tree? Because a tomato only lasts so long, and an oak tree is going to last thousands of years. So when we think about this seed, think about this. The oak tree is going to provide way more value than the tomato will. Does this make any sense at all? It's making sense to the person that thinks that right now they're in a place where they're in punishment, but they're not in punishment for what they've done. They're in preparation for who they're about to become. The tomato, it's only going to be good for so long, and once you eat it, it's gone. The oak tree is going to provide shade. It's going to provide, lumber. It's going to provide so much value to so many people. Like you said in the chat, an oak tree has several purposes. What's the value of an oak tree compared to the value of a tomato? And most of us are trying to be like a tomato and get there as fast as possible, but then only be good for about a week. When we could be like an oak tree and really understand that we're so blessed to be able to become who we need to become. So when we get to where we need to go, we're actually going to get to stay there, because it's not about obtaining, it's about sustaining. Going back to let's go back to that. Let me try to help you out here. Right? There's a framework that I have that is called the time framework, right? And this time framework is really unique because it's really like gonna tell you that your timing, right? And I just said this on I think a previous video, is that we are responsible for the grinding and God is responsible for the timing. And what I've noticed is that too many times do we want to get somewhere before we're even ready to be there. And then we hear people, like I said, I had a love hate relationship with Alex Hormozi. Well, the thing that I don't like is things that when people say, hey, you have to look stupid long enough before you could be successful. I don't believe that anybody looks stupid when they're actually attempting to do anything. When you're taking action, when you're an action taker, you will never look stupid. You may not be as good as you're going to be after you do it multiple times. And once you eliminate the focus of recognition and focus on the focus of repetition, and then you become better. But nobody looks stupid when they're doing something. The only person that looks stupid is the person that's talking about doing something and it's not even taking the next step. Again, beginning is winning. And you know what's crazy is we don't give ourselves the ability to understand that everybody had to start somewhere. And there was also another study that talked about how, I think it's here. Let's see. No, is this it? Here we go. Yeah. Look, after the age of 40, if you're over 40, check this out. Entrepreneurs starting after 40 are 2.5 times more likely to succeed. That comes from NIT, Age and High Growth Entrepreneurship Study in 2020. And then from Stanford Center of the Stanford Center in 2021 said 62% of people have a higher life satisfaction when they have new careers after the age of 40. So if you're feeling like you're actually stuck, you're not. You're not even late. You're on time for your story. You maybe not be on time for somebody else's story, but your story isn't theirs. And don't get to a place where you're comparing your chapter 10 to somebody else's, chapter 100, because you still got 90 pages of growth to go before you're going to go. And it's like we're all on a mountain, right? But let me get back to this time framework really quick here for the sake of time. Hopefully this is adding some value. I really hope it is. Your path is custom. So the T stands for tailored, right? If you were to go ahead and try on one of my suits, let's not even say try on one of my suits. Let's just say that the suits that I have today versus the suits that I had 6 months ago fit different. They fit different. I've been on a little bit of a journey of exercise and my health and spiritual journey for the past 6 months has caused me to take on some new habits, and I've seen some results. So all I'm going to say is that my suits from 6 months ago, they don't fit the same. If I put them on right now, it'll look like I'm, Nelly in 2000 and 2001, rapping about some Air Forces in a tall tee. That's probably what I look like if I put on one of my suits, right? But what's really interesting is that, like, if I put on one of those older suits, they're not going to fit me today. And I believe that a lot of us are trying to take other people's lives and see if they fit us today, but they don't. So many people don't even share the things that they're going through. They just go to social media to get dopamine hits, to make it seem as if like they're going to be doing better than they think they are, because they're not actually facing the things that nobody sees but them. And I pray to God that you're winning all of the silent battles in your life that nobody knows but you, first and foremost. I'm not here to pick on anybody because I know what it's like. In 2017, I went down a very, very, very difficult road, which caused me to be in a position to where I attempted to commit suicide. And by the grace of God, I'm still here. And I've learned so much through that process to understand that I was focusing on the one thing that I didn't have versus giving attention to all the amazing things that I do have. So when you think about what God gives you, he gives you the gift of today, and it's tailor fit. It's only fit for you. The things that he gave you, you can only do. And I'll share a story about being, tailored. When this was like 2017, 2018, one of the first things I did was go right to the gym. I was on medication. I think I was taking Xanaxes and I was taking other antidepressants at the time. And people were telling me, you just need to start exercising. So I went to the gym. And when I got to the gym, what did I do? I looked around and I saw all these WWE looking wrestlers, and people that had these phenomenal bodies that they were doing one of two things, right? They were either have been in here for 10 years, 15 years, or they may have been taking some testosterone, right? Or doing things another way. Who knows? But whatever it was, I knew that I was in a position to where I wasn't actually seeing myself like, I was looking at myself in a different way, right? I walked into a new arena, hadn't worked out in years, and went to go get some exercise to really help my mental health. And I was focused on how everybody looked. But I was there for my mental health. But I was still focused on everybody's muscles. I was focused on my mind, but I was staring at their muscles. What ended up happening? Then instead of me focusing on my mind, I actually deteriorated even more because I grabbed weights that I wasn't ready for because I felt like I was behind. I grabbed weights that were too heavy for me because I felt like I was behind. And then when I lifted these weights, I ended up getting a hernia. Not only one, but two. And then I had to get surgery. Not only once, but twice. And it took me 2 years to even schedule the surgery, because I was afraid of what was going to happen on the other side of it. But everything happens for a reason. Like, even if you're in a terrible season, there's a beautiful reason, because today you're still breathing. And God's not done with you yet. He's just getting started, because you're here on this channel because you're gaining awareness for what it is that's going on in your life. You're unlocking awareness on a new way to look at your life, because you don't need a new life. You need a new lens. So if you're going into the gym to work on your mind, don't focus on the people that are working on their muscles. Everything you're doing in life has been tailor fit for you. So give yourself some time to know that you're becoming who you have to become. You're not a cookie cutter. You're not a cookie cutter. So the I. Intentional. Intentional. See, every detour has a purpose. Has a purpose. Because after I got the hernia from working out in the gym, I ended up maybe delaying my surgery for a couple of years. But actually, after I got the surgery, I had so much fear built up that it was actually like a milestone or accomplishment for me to have the surgery. And then after I had the surgery, I went to the doctor and he goes, "Oh, it didn't work. We got to have you do it again." So I went from a laparoscopic surgery to then having an open repair, which is similar to a C-section, maybe not as long. I think it was like 4 or 5 inches, but whatever the case is, I had to have surgery twice. And now I'm feeling like, man, going through a divorce, financial struggles, attempted to commit suicide, started feeling grateful, got a little traction. But just because you start feeling better doesn't mean you're going to continue to unless you continue to keep the habit going. So what ended up happening is after I had the surgery, I then realized, like, my God, like, how much more can I go through? And then I felt like, you know what? Maybe I should share my experience because you're not behind. Your timing is your testimony. You just have to be intentional about what's happening and reframe the way that you're looking at the things that are happening in life. They always say, like, all storms don't come to just disrupt everything. They come to clear a path. I don't know if you've heard that before. But think about that. Everything that you've been through, not only have you gotten through it, but it's created a version of you that's been able to do things that you've never done before. Like, think about who you were 10 years ago. Do you think that person would be prepared to do the things that you're doing today? Think about who you were 10 years ago. Do you think that's the type of person that you'd want to be around today? Think about who you were 10 years ago. Is that the type of person that you may feel like is the best version of you? Now, if the answer is yes, then you got some work to do. Because I wouldn't fear what happens in your life by taking action. The only thing that I would fear is being in the same place this time next year. You're growing. Keep going. Intentional. Just like the gentleman, just like Greg said in the chat earlier, disruption follows intention. Just because you start doing something or making a new decision in your life to do something better doesn't mean that trouble's not going to come. If anything, it's going to get more difficult. It's kind of like being a follower of Christ. A lot of people are like, oh man, I give my life to God. Now things are supposed to be easier. No, they're about to get more difficult because you've just said that I'm going to live the right way. And you've been living the wrong way for a long time. And now we got to live the right way. And it's going to take some time also, right? So what I'm saying is that being intentional about what it is that you're doing. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Why am I here? And am I only here for money? Am I only here for, am I only here for the opportunity that's going to come to me? Or am I here for the opportunity who I'm going to become? And you may have to do a social media fast for a few days. But so many people do that, but they're not intentional about what they're doing when they do that. It's kind of like what I say, like if you want to have the best morning ever, it's not about waking up earlier. It's about what you do when you do get up. When you step away from social media for a couple of days, what do you do in those couple of days? When you step away from something that no longer serves you, how long is it and what do you do while you're away? So when you come back, it feels different. I've taken many breaks on many things in my life, and I know that like the best thing that it's done for me is being, I remember during COVID, right? Those crazy times. I realized that like I was locked up. Everybody was locked up. Everybody was freaking out. Now, some people had more faith than others and went through some things. My stepfather passed away through that period. So we had some crazy experiences. And, but looking at that time frame back in 2021, I realized that like, man, when you're away from something, it allows you to see something differently. And I have this focus framework. I'm in the middle of the time framework. I shouldn't be talking about another framework, but it kind of fits well, is that in order to be intentional, you have to zoom out. You got to get out of the forest so you can see the trees sometimes. And sometimes you may be so close to a situation that you don't see the value in it. You may be so close to a certain person that you don't see the value in them. You may be so close to somebody so nobody sees the value in you. I mean, the greatest way to add value to your life is to subtract from it. And let me tell you guys something really fast here. Let me tell you this let me tell you this really quick. Is that there will always be somebody that chooses not to see your value. You just need to make sure that that person is not you. That's a pause. That's a perspective pause. Because how you see you is how people do too. So if you're walking around with your head down, people see somebody that looks discouraged. If you're walking around and talking about your problems, people see somebody as you as a complainer. If you're walking around being optimistic and always thinking about the many things that you have instead of the one thing that you don't, with the bagel and the donut analogy we went over earlier, then people are not going to want to be around you. And then you're going to feel lonely. So anyway, what I'm saying is this, right? Be intentional about what it is that you're going through. Don't allow a good crisis to ever go to waste. Because I mean, let me come back. I never learned anything from a win. Yeah, I always talk about winning. Today is Wednesday. Every day is Wednesday if you spell it right. WINSDAY. If you woke up, you're winning. You know, I believe that in every ounce of my soul and every cell in my body. But I never learned anything from when I said I was winning. I gained some energy and some momentum. But the only time I ever learned is when I lost. The first video I made on this channel was you don't win or lose, you win or learn. And the more that you learn, the more that you earn. Yeah, right. It's not about money, though. Wealth isn't just about money. It's about intellectual property. Experiences create a level of value that no money could bring you. When things are going well, what are you learning? If anything, you're discerning. If anything, you're starting to see things a little bit differently because it's giving you the opportunity to get out of survival mode. But then there are some people that will find themselves in a place where they start looking at greed. Greed. I was just having a conversation this morning with my little brother, and we were talking about greed. And just because there's large companies out there doesn't mean that they're doing things the right way. Just because you see success out there doesn't mean it's happening right. Man, this isn't part of my notes. God knows what he's doing. But I'll tell you this, just because people are making money doesn't mean that they're making it on the backs of doesn't mean, just because people are making money, a lot of money, millions of dollars in a year, in a month, in a week, in a day, doesn't mean they're doing it the right way. Just because you see somebody hold an award that says they made $1 million in a day does not mean they did it the right way. Because there is so much dark psychology out there and less qualification and suitability out there. And it's all an integrity and an ethical issue. Now, so many people shift the accountability and say, hey, listen, I was just selling something. They shouldn't have bought it. But is that what you would tell Jesus? Side note. Is that what you would tell Jesus? Come on, Greg. How you see you is how people do too. Oof. Come on now. I'm telling you, the chat is going crazy today. Because what is a man to gain everything of this world and sell his soul in the process? And you are comparing yourself, and you probably care about people way more than the person that you're looking at, wishing that you were in their life and wishing that you were in their shoes. Well, you may want to be in their shoes in this world, but you're not going to want to be in their shoes when eternity comes. You may want to be in their shoes today, but you're not going to want to be in their shoes the day that God has something to say. And you know what's even crazier is that, and I'm sitting there, yeah, I'm trying to figure out words to rhyme like that, whatever, don't mind me. But you know what's even crazier is that people actually think that, like, I've heard this so much in personal development rooms and spaces, on podcasts, on masterminds, everywhere, right? People say things like, you know, I just want to be the best version of myself when I finally have that conversation with God. And there's people I look up to heavily that say this, right? And I look at them, and this is my perspective, pause. This is my way of looking at things. You may or may not like the way that I look at things, but hey, do you? I'm going to look at things this way. But I think I got a little bit of evidence that says that God is not just the greeter at the gate of eternity. He's already here, and the Holy Spirit is inside of us. If it says in the Bible that the same Spirit that rose Jesus from the dead is inside of us, and that's part of the Trinity, of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, that means like God is not only just here, he's inside of us. So if you're saying that, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and start becoming ethical right before I die. Right before I die, I'm gonna go ahead and say, you know what, I was saved, so I'm good. Nah, that's not how it works. You know better. Do better. So I'll say this, right? As a financial advisor for many years, and that doesn't mean like I'm trying to put myself on a pedestal. I was a financial advisor and actually ended up losing my office. I literally was teaching people how to retire, and I wasn't managing my money properly, and I lost my office. How do you think that like a lot of people are afraid to tell the truth of their life and the mistakes of their life because they think that people are going to judge them now. But those mistakes are what gave me the wisdom to be able to teach that now. You know, too many of us are looking for me. If I pulled up in a Lamborghini, you're going to take my advice. But if I tell you I was a financial advisor and I was giving people advice about the retirement, I didn't manage my money correctly, and I actually lost my business. Now, does that mean that you're going to look at me and say, oh, yeah, well, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about? I'm not afraid to talk about where I messed up because that made me who I am. Don't be afraid to talk about the things that were messed up because that makes you who you are. Your timing is your testimony. It's not about where you're going. It's not about what you get. It's about who you become. And until you find out that in order to become the strongest person, you got to lift the heaviest weights. In order to become the most courageous person, you got to be faced with a high level of fear. In order to become the wisest person, you're going to have to go through a lot of pain. Like people want to be strong and wise and wealthy without learning anything. They just want to hit a button and it's done. It's like this. This is what they want. People want easy, breezy. But it's the whole principle. You do what's easy, life's going to be hard. You do it hard, do what's hard, life's going to be easy. So I just posted something. It was a short yesterday, and I had somebody that I haven't talked to in a very long time. When I said, who were you 10 years ago? They still think that maybe that's who I am. And I posted something. Chat said microwave miracles. Come on now. Just because they made $1 million in a day doesn't mean they made it the right way. Come on now. Did I say that? But it's a fact, right? Now I'm not taking away from the people that are, actually generating income and building successful businesses and doing it in an ethical way. I'm just saying that everybody that's trying to sell you something is not running the right play. So let me go back to what I was saying is that 10 years ago, I had somebody comment on a post that I just made, and I made something a little controversy, right? I was saying, don't be present. Now, obviously, I'm telling you, be present, be mindful, pay attention to where you are, be intentional. Your life is tailored in your way, and I'm all about taking time to reflect. I mean, that's what the perspective pause is to be present and focus on some self-reflection because momentum means nothing if you're going in the wrong direction. All right, come on now, Chesco. What I'm saying is that this person started saying things like, oh, well, you're saying don't be present and be around your family just so you can focus on success, just so you can continue to focus on, don't be present with your family during the holidays. Don't do these types of things. I mean, what's crazy is like people take the things out of context because I was only saying don't be present is an excuse that people use. Listen, I what was it, over 10, maybe, what was it, 2026? So if we look back, probably like 15 years ago, yeah, I was smoking and drinking. Right? I was hanging around with people that would literally buy more lottery tickets than they would buy more time for them to read a book. And what I noticed was that everybody would tell me, oh man, you're reading that book. You think that's going to make you successful? Oh, you're going to that seminar. You think that's going to make you successful? Oh, you're learning how to do more leadership stuff. Oh, you're making more sales. Ooh. Like I used to get picked on for wanting to become a better person. And those same people used to tell me, hey, just be in the moment, man. Live in the moment. Hit this, smoke this, drink this, whatever it is. But those same people used be present and live in the moment as a way for me to eliminate what I was disciplined at. Now I have great people in my life that would tell me all the time, hey, don't make a mistake. Hey, did you go ahead and drink your gallon of water today? Hey, did you make it to the gym today? Hey, did you go live on YouTube today? I have people in my life that hold me accountable to a higher standard. And so the people that are actually going to come in your life from 10 years ago may still ask you the questions like, how's that little business you got going on going? How's that last venture that you got going on going? Oh, I heard that you were doing those dinner seminars and you ended up losing your office. Oh man, that didn't work, did it? Those are the same people that are putting so many limitations on their life that they've already failed. And they're getting excited when you do. Because it's validating the fact that going through things that are difficult and taking risks in life are actually the things that are making the mistakes in my life. But I'm here to tell you, the biggest risk in life is not taking any. Because if you don't take any risks and you don't do anything different, you're not going to learn anything. So who am I, right? Listen, I went down that path, but I got a lot of experience. I just helped a gentleman with a index universal life insurance policy have a tremendous level of wealth in his life. I still help people with the skill sets and the knowledge that I know. God is in full control. So the moment that we allow him to take full control and pray more, be present more, be still more, be around people that actually have this mindset more, then we're actually going to start realizing that we're right on time. So I know I'm not right on time. I'm going way over time. I told you I was going to run out of time before I run out of value. So let me try to get through this framework really fast and you guys can go ahead and take some action. But please, just know that like when it comes to timing, you're just cooking. You're cooking right now. It's like you said it, microwave miracles. Come on now. I see the chat. I mean, we need to be more like an oven or a crock pot. And I'll get into that another time. But the M stands for meaningful. The M stands for meaningful. And what does meaningful mean, right? Meaningful is going to mean that your timing creates your message. So tailored, you have a custom life, intentional, what you've learned, meaningful, creates a message. And then last, it's going to be exact. What is exact? Exactly where you are supposed to be. You're right on time. You're right on time. Because you have a custom life that God gave you and gave nobody else. Your fingerprint, your voice will never, ever be created again. Intentionality. What have you learned? What are you learning through this time? Nobody can take the experiences that you've had in life and actually replace them. And then meaningful. What message can you create over all the things that you've gone through to remind yourself that you're doing so much better than you think you are? Remember what I said earlier. If you're focused on your mind, be careful trying to focus on other people that are focused on their muscles. Make sure that you're in the same place. If you go into a mastermind or a group with other people and you want to work on yourself, make sure you have the same intentions. Because you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Everything that you've been through is creating you for more, to become more. You're becoming more. You're becoming more. Abraham Maslow created the hierarchy of needs, right? He said this: You will either step forward into growth or step back into safety. The person who is worrying about being late has confused the process of becoming with the illusion of arriving. Self-actualization doesn't have a deadline. Chat, be you on purpose because you were created for a purpose. Thank you. Amen. So I'll read 2 more of these and we're out of here. Alfred Adler. The only normal people are the ones you don't know very well. Everyone feels inferior to others in some way. But the neurotic compares timelines. The healthy person focuses on contributing, not catching up. I always like to say this. The fastest way that you're ever going to kill your dream is not focusing on serving, but instead focusing on wanting to be seen. The fastest way that you will ever kill your dream is to stop focusing on serving and continue to keep focusing on wanting to be seen. When you start helping others, you stop thinking about yourself. You stop thinking about your timeline. You stop thinking about your clock. And you just serve like we're supposed to. There's so many blessings that you'll receive in taking a moment today to help somebody else out. Get out of your head. The world is so big. Get out of your head. And just know that you're right on time. I pray to God that you got some value from this video, whether you're going through a midlife crisis, whether you're thinking about jumping from job to job, whether you're in a relationship, whether you're going through something like I'm going through, which is empty nest syndrome, where your kids are getting to a certain age and you're starting to feel like things are changing. Whatever that you're going through, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Focus on what's in your hand, not in someone else's. Focus on what God gave you, not what he gave somebody else. And build that relationship with God, not with social media. Because remember what I said, what you tune into is what you turn into. And what entertains you, trains you. So be careful what you allow to be in your life. Because whatever you allow to be in your life, you allow to be in your life. And you can never change the people that are around you. But you can change how long you stay around those people. You may not be able to change the situation in your life, but you can control how you view that situation. So throughout this video, I pray that you find some clarity and realize that you don't need a new life. You just needed a new lens. You're right on time. Keep trusting God and keep taking action. We'll be here next week on the Perspective Pause, Wednesdays, 10 a.m. Eastern time. If you got any value from this video, please make sure that you share it. That's the only thing that I'm asking for, because there's somebody out there that really needs this information. And that's it. Hopefully y'all have a blessed day. And just know that any of this is not going to do any good unless you apply it, because we don't need more information. We need more application. So get back to doing what you got to do. Take action. And just know that we'll be here next week for you to slow down so you can speed up. Hopefully you guys have a blessed day, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. God bless.